Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with a Spain news update. And the Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, has announced a huge amount of money that will help rebuild the island of La Palma, which, as we know, has been destroyed by a volcano eruption. But more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel through a donation. You can see your name here. Thanks to people that bought merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your support. Now, let's get into the news. And as I said, Prime Minister Sanchez has pledged a large amount of money to help rebuild the island of La Palma. As we can see here, Sanchez announces urgent aid of more than 200 million euros for the reconstruction of La Palma. The President of the government, Pedro Sánchez, announced this Saturday that during next Tuesday's meeting of the Council of Ministers, an aid plan of more than 200 million euros will be urgently approved to help those affected by the volcanic eruption on La Palma. According to Sanchez, during a visit to the island, it is a very powerful plan for an amount of more than 206 million euros that will be approved by the government as a royal decree and will be used to rebuild infrastructure and water supply, and includes items for employment, the tourism sector, agriculture, as well as tax benefits. So some good news there for the residents of that island down there in the Canaries that have been affected by the volcano eruption. The Prime Minister putting his hand deep into his pockets and coming up with some 206 million euros in aid. Now there's some more good news for the government today, and it is that jobs are being created and unemployment is down. As we can see here, unemployment falls by 76,113 in the best September on record. The good pace of the economy after the blow dealt by the pandemic was also reflected in the labour market in September, which is usually a bad month for employment due to the end of the summer season. The number of unemployed registered in the offices of the State Employment Service, SEPE, fell by 76,113 in what is the best September on record, bringing the total number of unemployed down to 3,257,802, a figure that is now close to pre-pandemic levels. So the economy is going well, unemployment is down. It seems that the Sanchez government cannot put a foot wrong. In fact, in one particular sector there seems to be a shortage of workers, and the transport sector is looking for thousands of truckers. Believe it or not, there is a shortage of lorry drivers in Spain, and the sector is warning of a shortage of professional hauliers. Truck drivers are getting older. Many of them are retiring and there is no replacement. Before, children wanted to be lorry drivers, but now they don't. They prefer to be something else. Young people are interested in other types of jobs that allow them to be comfortable, to be at home, or to keep close contact with their family. The job of a truck driver is a demanding job, requiring long hours on the road, but it is a vital occupation. If the numbers of drivers continues to fall, the consequences could be devastating. This situation could worsen in the coming years, leading to real problems of shortages. So the transport sector here in Spain getting on the front foot and putting the call out for truckies and trying to avoid a shortage of workers in the sector that could bring the country to a standstill. Now, an important sector here in Spain, the public service, are said to be unhappy because they can't work from home as much as they would like to. As we can see from this headline, cutting teleworking irritates civil servants. Jesus Duran feels that he has been robbed of one of the few good things the pandemic has brought. Since September last year, he has alternated a week working at home with another week going to his job at the State Employment Service, SEPE. But that routine has come to an end. The government has set October as the month of the return to the office, and from now on only a maximum of 1 day a week will be allowed for remote work, with the exception of cancer patients or the immunocompromised. For Mr. Duran, this means having to travel the 39 kilometres between his home in Malaga and the town of Alora, where he works as head of the benefits area, much more frequently. It feels bad. If we had not responded, it would be understandable, but that has not been the case. We have even covered the costs of teleworking with our personal means. I hope that later on, when things really settle down, the measures will become more flexible, he says on the phone as he drives home at the end of his working day. So civil servants here in Spain upset because they can only work 1 day from home, and this seems to be the general trend not only in the public service but also in the private sector here in Spain at the moment. All of the talk during the pandemic that home working here in Spain was here to stay seems to have come to nothing, with only 1 day per week being offered to public sector workers to be able to work from home, and more or less it's the same in the private sector, or sometimes none. So permanent teleworking, it seems, is not going to be an option for the majority of people here in Spain. Now, the main opposition party, the Partido Popular, or the PP, held their annual conference at the weekend, and the leader of the PP, Pablo Casado, has said that he is going to move to stifle Vox and has announced the repeal of all of Sanchez's laws. Change is already here. Spain can wait no longer. We know where we are going. We have a plan and we will not let anyone down. This Sunday, Pablo Casado filled his first bull ring, the one in Valencia, in what the PP considers to be the first step towards regaining the Moncloa Palace after a week-long convention that crossed Spain from north to south. The popular leader, 3 years after reaching the presidency of the party in what he himself defined as a journey in the desert, unpacked his future electoral program, a new social contract, and made an amendment to the whole of Pedro Sanchez's government, making it clear that he will repeal all its laws from democratic memory to the Cela law, and that he will implement a plan to strengthen institutions and the unity of Spain. So there you go. That's basically what we're dealing with here in Spain. One government comes in, brings in a whole series of new laws, then the next government comes in and repeals them all. So one step forward, two steps back seems to be the way politics works in this country. Now, unfortunately, the topic of out-of-control street drinking parties is making headlines again today. As we can see here, wild botellones proliferate in Barcelona in the COVID area. It's a phenomenon that's here to stay. Wild botellones have proliferated in Barcelona. The relaxation of health restrictions, the prolonged closure of nightlife, and the delegitimization of the police has generated, according to experts, an unstoppable Molotov cocktail that has led to an unprecedented situation. Some young people, and not so young, have gone from just consuming alcohol in the streets without masks or distance to engaging in real acts of vandalism with looting in shops, attacks on police officers, and numerous fights with knives. What is most worrying is that this is not an isolated case. According to Inma Viudes, spokesperson for the SAP FIPOL Union of the Mossos de Esquadra, this is a phenomenon that is here to stay. Viudes says that what is happening in Barcelona is an unprecedented crime problem, an absolutely uncontrolled situation that is not only caused by the botellón phenomenon, but also by the loss of authority and political support. So finally, somebody admitting that the problem of botellón is here in Spain is out of control. And according to that spokesperson from the Catalonian police, it is now reaching a whole new level. Now let's have a look at a summary of the health situation in Spain. We can see that the accumulated incidence rate for the last 14 days is now down to just under 58. There are still 2,403 COVID patients hospitalised around the country, and there are 675 COVID patients still in ICU. Now, the subject of Brexit and how it is affecting British retirees here in Spain has made headlines, and apparently Brit expats are leaving Spain in droves as retirees abandon Costa del Sol after Brexit. British expats are said to be leaving Spain in droves, with numerous retirees abandoning the popular area of Costa del Sol as a result of Brexit. Travel experts have noticed a decrease in the number of Brits in the country due to more stringent immigration rules brought in after the UK left the European Union. Robert Barnhart, a property expert who runs an estate agency in the seaside town of Fuengirola, said many retired people are now starting to sell their properties. Due to Brexit, UK citizens can only visit Spain with a visa for up to 3 months for tourism and business purposes. So there we go, Brit expats leaving Spain in droves according to the Mirror. And if you are a Brit expat and you have left Spain, let us know in the comment section below. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from Gary: when will there be a debate about the 90-180 rule? The Spanish economy is losing out massively by sending Brits home every 3 months. They seem to be cutting their nose off to spite their face. Any views? Yeah, Gary, thanks for the comment. And as we just saw, according to the Mirror newspaper there in the UK, Brits are leaving places like the Costa del Sol in their droves. The 90-180 rule has definitely thrown a spanner in the works for a lot of people, especially retirees, and no doubt the Spanish economy, especially in some of those coastal areas like the Costa del Sol, Valencia, Alicante, Mallorca, the Canary Islands, is taking a massive hit. But as I have said on many occasions, it is what it is. I believe there's a few pressure groups that have been set up to try to lobby the Spanish government to change that 90-180 rule, but so far they haven't had much luck, so we'll see what happens with that rule in the future. But it's definitely a huge inconvenience for a lot of people, especially people that like to spend 6 months here and 6 months in the UK, but as I said, it is what it is. One here from Martin: muchas gracias por el video, Stuart. Portugal eradicated a lot of their drug problems with fresh thinking and rethinking its legal status. Yeah, Martin, thanks for the comment, and obviously referring to a news article that we saw last week that various political parties here in Spain, mainly on the left side of politics, have started the debate about legalizing marijuana. The argument that they put forward is that it would bring billions of euros into Spanish coffers. It would also get rid of the mafias that control the illegal marijuana market here in Spain. And one politician said that it's time that the government started dealing with the problem and stop pretending that it doesn't exist. So maybe, as you say in your comment, Portugal is the template to follow, and maybe it's time to rethink the legal status of marijuana and cannabis in this country. One here from Eclectic: there's a sickening sense of deja vu about Ayuso's bid to interest American corporations in Madrid. Who remembers the PP trying to woo Sheldon Adelson and his Eurovegas? When these people complain about fiscal rigidity here, what they really want is fiscal deregulation, arbitrary and selective implementation of local bylaws, and to be able to get away with offering Victorian pay and conditions to workers. We had a narrow escape with Adelson. Let's hope the Sanchez government stands firm against these sharks. There's enough corruption and crappy gig economy employment in Spain as it is. The Eclectic, thanks for the comment, and I will put my hand up because I remember the Eurovegas plan for Madrid. If I remember correctly, after the 2008 financial crisis here in Spain, the regional government here in Madrid was desperate for cash and was looking for people with business ideas to invest in the area. Along came Mr. Adelson with his Eurovegas project, and what a terrible project it was. Setting up a massive Las Vegas-style resort about 15 kilometers from where I live in a place called Loeches. And basically the idea was that, to have a Spanish version of Sin City in the Madrid community. But as we know, the project didn't go ahead, and thank heavens for that. So hopefully Ms. Ayuso, on her trip to the United States last week, wasn't talking to this type of investor, but you never know. One here from Marion: enjoy all your videos from day one. So helpful and informative for us settling in a new country. Appreciate all the hard work putting these videos together. Yeah, Marion, thanks for the comment, and glad you like the videos, and good to see that you find them informative. I hope all is going well for you guys here in Spain and that you are settling in okay, because as we know, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult. One here from Desert Preacher: trolls and haters are a plague and they don't contribute to anything. I think your channel is interesting to see for a Spaniard in order to know what foreigners think about living in Spain. Furthermore, I think you are a balanced person and your opinions are well thought. Yeah, Desert Preacher, thanks for the comment, and I would also like to think that I am a balanced person. And you're right, trolls and haters are a plague. They contribute absolutely nothing to the channel, and I wish they would disappear. But thankfully, they are in the minority on this channel, I think. And good to see Spanish people contributing to the debate, so keep it up. One here from Crikey: hi Stuart, enjoy your videos, great work. I keep reading about all this help for the autonomos here in Spain, but as an autonomo for the past 2 years, I have never received or even been offered any help whatsoever. Yeah, Crikey, thanks for the comment, and good to see another member of the autonomo or self-employed club here in Spain. And I'm like you, I read all the time about this financial help for autonomos here in Spain, that the government's offering a lot of money to help people get their businesses up and running, or for self-employed that are having a tough time at the moment, there's also aid available. But my phone never rings with people offering me this money, the bank never calls me, my gestor never calls me, so I've come to the conclusion that if you want to get your hands on some of this money, you've got to go and find it yourself. So the best thing to do would be talk to a financial expert and see if you are eligible for some of this aid. One here from Outdoor Chill: thanks for sharing as always, Stu. Your dog in the background knows how to chill. How cute. When will you be able to visit your family in Australia? There's very few cases there now. Cheers from Barcelona. Yeah, Outdoor, thanks for the comment, and you're right, the dog certainly knows how to chill, especially when she's just come back from a 5-kilometre walk. And when will I be able to visit Australia again? Well, there's been some good news on that front, and it is that the country is going to open again in November. I think it is, but the bad news for me is that Western Australia, which is where my family currently is not going to open then. They're going to delay the opening by a few more months. So I probably won't be able to get back to Western Australia at least until mid-2022. And finally, one here from Ivan: raise your hand if you get distracted by Mia. By the way, Stu, our wedding in Barcelona is happening next week. After months of waiting, we can make this happen. Reduced in size and investment, but still a celebration. Your videos kept me updated on many levels. Thank you. Yeah, Van, thanks for the comment, and so happy to see that your wedding is going ahead. Obviously, it's not the size that you were planning, but these are the times that we are living. And I'm glad to have helped keep you updated over the last 18 months or so. So good luck with the wedding. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.